Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Bubby Brister and Friends Fantasy Football Podcast, presented by Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Bubby has jury duty this week, so it's me and Nick filling in. Nick, how did you do this week?
Well, well, first of all, hello everybody. Happy first week of football. How did my team do? Well, I am top fantasy points this week, and I'm not just top fantasy points in this league, but I'm top fantasy in all three of my leagues I'm in. I really knocked it out the park. I usually start
Baller.
off really hot and then I end really bad. I start off really hot and I get really cold and then I lose later. So it's my life I live, right? Sad times. My team was absolutely carried by my first pick. My first pick in all three leagues, Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill was unstoppable this week, and I'm banking on him. I will, like I said, when I drafted him in episode one, I didn't think he's going to do 17, but my man's really trying to go after 2,000 this year. So if you want to do 2,000, I'll gladly take my first Super Bowl in this league. I will. Okay. My fancy disappointment on my team, for real, is Drake London. Drake London,
Oh, yeah.
Hyatt. I would say that Hyatt has zero as well. Danny Dimes was under duress, but
Hyatt's
Drake
not a
London
real
giving me a
person.
big old fat goose egg. He's a rookie playing his first game, so I get it. But Drake London, being an established wide receiver, supposed to be Mike Evans bargain bin. He's the all these version of Mike Evans, trying to make a difference here, and he had one target for no yards. You know what I mean? He was projected actually 12, so that's tough.
Yeah, and what's tough about him is because the Falcons don't really utilize him the way you would think a team would utilize a top 10 reality drafted wide receiver. Is Arthur Smith gives no cares about your fantasy football team when it comes to how to run their offense. I kind of find it refreshing that, he just wants to pound the ball and isn't trying to light up the scoreboards. But yeah, as far as fantasy football purposes go, Drake London and Kyle Pitts, you kind of can't play them, especially London.
Yeah,
At least
yeah.
Pitts is a
I
tight
mean,
end, so
they said after the game that they're going to open up the playbook, so we'll see. Jury's out.
you called something right on one of our previous episodes where you said Algier was going to get more work than people were thinking with Bijan there, and yeah, you nailed that.
Mm-hmm.
I played against Algier's owner, and he left him on the bench. I still lost though. We'll get to my box score later. I'm looking at yours here though. You didn't have a lot of confidence in the Tampa Bay head coach.
I literally went up to like maybe the final like 10 minutes and I was like, it's a road game in Minnesota, new offense. I was like, Flores scared me. I was like, all right, we're gonna lose. We're probably gonna lose this game close, and then we end up like the Bucks end up winning it close. Really fun seeing Baker Mayfield getting angry second half of the game and taking the win for the Bucks. So that was pretty exciting. There's a nice little buzz in Tampa, and then reports come out after the game now that Mike Evans didn't get signed because Tampa is taking in consideration that if Baker Mayfield plays well, they're gonna have to pay him. So they're like, well, we need a quarterback of the future, or do you take a receiver that's on his way out? So it's like, damn, that's a tough one, but I understand.
I saw an early stat line on Baker, and it was like 3 for 11 for however many yards, and I was like, I guess that's not working yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then when
And then
as
right
the day
after that,
progressed,
yeah.
I couldn't believe it. We got something wrong last week too, where we kind of crapped on the Raiders, and we said the only two players they have worth anything in fantasy football are Jacobs and Devontae Adams. Looking at so you won your game 166 to 123 against the Tampa Bay Punishers, and he had Jacoby Myers on his bench, 9 catches, 81 yards, 2 touchdowns, 29 points left on his bench. That
I
wouldn't have been
know,
enough to beat
right?
you, though.
Jacoby Myers, you would not. It's hard to bank on Jacoby, but apparently Jacoby and Jimmy G got a connection. That's real. 9 for 81. All right, okay. 2
Yeah.
tutties. All right, okay, okay.
CD Lamb had
And
4 catches for 77 yards, but
Etienne,
the Dallas didn't have to do anything.
ugh, they didn't do anything. And Etienne, like
123.
Jaguars running back, he had really good, like he had really good his initial picks. Like you can see, these are his initial picks, his big dollar picks, all scored. It's all the later on, because actually he started Higbee, like I said. Higbee would be the better one, but actually Ingram did better. Christian Kirk was a no-show. Baltimore defense gave him 19 points. That's really good. Against Houston,
Yeah.
played really tough in that game. McManus from Denver to Jacksonville, give him a solid 8. So you can't beat that. But again, like you said, Tyler Lockett, here today, gone tomorrow. He was gone today. He was not in the office. 2 for 10.
Yeah, I don't trust Seattle at all. Geno Smith, I'll never believe. They could be putting a Hall of Fame jacket on him. I'll be like, I still don't trust it. You got another roll of the dice right with Calvin Ridley. 8 catches, 101 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, it was tough. Yeah, Christian Kirk definitely fell back seat. He's coming back down to earth, because Calvin
Smart.
Ridley is a really good route runner. So that's how it's going to be. So I kind of saw that coming down the pike. So that's good. I'm really disappointed in my guy, Traylon Burke. So Tennessee was bad all game. But come on, man. That's just not it. 2 for
Hey,
18. Come on, man.
if you ever feel like you're gonna drop him, let me know, and I might make you a trade offer for him. I really like Burks.
All right. Okay. We'll keep that in mind.
But good for you. You got off to a 1-0 start without your first round draft pick. Jonathan Taylor sitting in your IR spot. You got good production. You got a combined 30 points from your running backs, Alexander Madison and Javonte Williams. That's solid.
Alexander Madison absolutely got that touchdown on a wing and a prayer on a bad. Tampa Bay, it was a bad holding call, so they had a second chance. He caught it in a little wing and scored something. Because beyond that, that was his only catch he had that game, and he had 34 yards rushing. Like Tampa's run defense was very stout that game. Because even I have the handcuff, and the handcuff has 2 points. He has a catch out of the backfield and no rushing yards. So it's a it was a tough day at the office. I have the tight end for Cleveland. He was no show as well. 2 catches for 24. Watson just didn't see him. I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm gonna have to monitor the situation. I'm gonna have to find another tight end.
Tight end, I don't even think you need to worry about it. I bet if you went across all the scores in our league, maybe 2 tight ends went into double digits. I don't even worry about tight end.
The one tight end, I think the one tight end went over double digits was the Carolina Panthers one. Yeah, he had a touchdown.
So you scored 166 points. That was the high points for the week. That means you won. Well, in case the IRS is listening, you won 40 high fives that you'll collect at the end of the season.
There you go.
I lost my game 164 to 119. I played the second highest scoring team in the league in the New Day co-op. He would have outscored you had he played Tua over Trevor Lawrence. Had he played Tyler Algier over either of his running backs, he had Jamar Gibbs and Jalen Warren, both of which were pretty much non-existent for fantasy purposes, especially Warren. He had the Dallas defense. They put up 52 points against me. That has to be the highest scoring defensive performance in our league's history since 2008.
Like I
52.
swear, just like in like when I think of football, and I always think there's like every year there's one team that just does something so ridiculous on defense against an opposing team. Like I think back of like when the Eagles played against the New York Giants, and that's when they had like Michael Strahan and Ossie Minor, and like they had 9 sacks that game because it's the left tackle was a turnstile, and like McNabb was going down all game, and I'm like, bruh. And just seeing this game, I didn't even watch the game, but just like blocked field goal, 2 defensive touchdowns,
Yeah.
2 picks. You're pitting the entire Dallas Cowboys defense to the Pro Bowl after one game.
So we were both amazed that we found out he carries 2 defenses throughout the season, and he looks smart here. His other defense was the Jets, who scored 26 points. That's a combined, 78 points between
78
his 2 defenses?
points. God.
So even if he had played the Jets defense, 26 is an amazing number for our league in fantasy points. And yeah, to get 52 isn't even fair. Like, I almost want to
Yeah, 52. You
file
just
a
turn it.
grievance.
Yeah. You're like not fair. He's another player. That's another player score. Like 52, scoring 52 is like epic level. You're like Peyton Manning Monday night against the Ravens opening game. You know what I mean? You're talking Tom
Michael
Brady. Tom
Michael
Brady
Vick
against the Titans. But yeah, Michael Vick Eagles.
against
Like
Washington.
yeah, it's just these epic outbursts, and that's just Calvin Johnson. You know what I mean? Julio Jones, 300 yards receiving. Like that's what we're talking about. And that defense right there is like, yeah, for that one game. And then watch Dallas next game is going to give up the entire ass. Probably they're going to play
They have a
somebody.
good matchup.
Who they play against next week?
I don't know, but it's a pretty good matchup.
Because
I can't remember who it was.
it's coming because Dak looked like trash. But the rest of his team, T Law, the young prince that's not crowned yet. If you watch First Thing First, he gave 26 points, 2 touchdowns, interception because he loves throwing picks. Jay Warren, he started Jay Warren for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was just a bad time. Stephon Diggs, 10 catches, 102. And I think Sauce was guarding him. So he was killing Sauce Gardner all game.
So I would have beat 8 other teams in our league with my 119. That's tough.
That's real tough.
My biggest week 1 draft disappointment, the easy answer for me is Lamar Jackson. He got me only 9 points, under 200 passing yards, 0 touchdowns. He's in a new offense with a new coordinator, with brand new receivers and a juicy matchup with the Texans. But the correct answer for my biggest week 1 draft disappointment is Rashad Penny. I had extremely low expectations for this dude. He was my 4th running back, but come on, man. He didn't even dress. Like, he was ruled inactive. I rage dropped him this morning. I was like, get out of here. The quotes from Nick Sirianni were even worse.
What'd he say?
He basically, you got to look him up. It was a word salad, but it all equaled up to, like, we don't like him. Like, Boston Scott dressed ahead of him. So,
see,
yeah,
and that's what I was. And guys, remember in the draft special, I kept saying too many mouths to feed because I do know that later on, when we look later on, Dallas Goedert, the tight end, got 0 points too. So it's just too many mouths, and it's just hard to keep up. Your boy Jettis though, 24 points, 9 for 150, and he did all that in the first half. He had like 7 catches the first half, and the second half, Minnesota said, "We're not throwing the ball to you anymore. We're good."
I made a game time decision when Mark Andrews was ruled out. I dropped Darnell Mooney and picked up Isaiah Likely to start in the tight end spot over Dalton Schultz. Neither Schultz or Likely did anything. I dropped Likely this morning as well as Rashad Penny. Did you see Jefferson got dropped today?
Jefferson got dropped by who? What do you mean got dropped?
Jefferson, he got dropped.
What do you mean? No, I did not see
Van Jefferson.
Oh, Van Jefferson. Oh, man. Dang. Well, because he's like the third option. He's not getting any love in LA, so.
Yeah. My biggest week 1 surprise is Breece Hall, the Jet star rookie running back from last season before a serious knee injury took him down. Yeah, he fell to me in the 7th round, with questions about his usage and the addition of Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook was pretty disappointing, only 13 carries for 33 yards. Breece Hall went 10 for 27, and now with Rodgers out, they're going to have a tough time keeping his pitch count low. They got to play him now.
Pour one out for the homie, man. Aaron Rodgers gone down. Green Bay, they're over here punching air because they thought they were getting a first-round draft pick. Now they're going to get a mid-round second because the Jets defense is good enough for them to win some mediocre games. Like if you're the Jets, do you just say we're just going to tank out now and we're going to get into the sweepstakes? Because you know what?
No.
Forget this season, bro. Like there's just no way we can't. You can't go through the season. Hopefully, Aaron Rodgers, who has his Achilles ruptured, it was gross to look at. You know, he might come back next year, but you'll be 40, come back and trying to like do what? Do what? You know what I mean? You're not Ryan Fitzpatrick. So I mean, what are you doing, man? Just go off into the darkness with your money and you'll be fine. So if I'm them, I would be like, hey, we're done. But I mean, I don't know if the Jets are going to do that because then you get sweepstakes, everything else. High side note, I think Carson Wentz will look great in a Jets uniform.
I was high on Wentz last season. He proved everybody right who told me I was an idiot. So if they want to call him, I will watch that shit show. That's a bummer
How
what
do you feel
happened to
about Odell
Rodgers.
Beckham? Yeah. How do you feel about Odell Beckham only giving you 2 catches for 37?
So I'm a little disappointed, but I'm also fine. I knew he was like a project, and if something was going to happen with him, I'm going to have to be patient. I got him so late that even if I pull the plug on him, it won't really matter. But I did expect more than 5 points from him. I can't play him until I see something, unless I'm forced by injuries or bye weeks. But
It's interesting because his contract is laden with just he has to get points and get yards and touchdowns to get really paid. So it's
yes,
interesting how that works. And with
it's
it's gonna be interesting how it turns out.
it's not like they were throwing the ball to everybody but him too. You know what I mean? They didn't throw the ball for shit against Houston, so yeah, we'll see. He's my fourth receiver, so it's not like I'm depending on him. I got some waiver claims on receivers. We'll get into the waiver claims. Let's dig into these box scores.
Okay.
All right. So the first one I got here is the Renegades versus the Clams. The Renegades won 102-97. It's a 5-point game. That's pretty close. Digging into the numbers, I see the Clams lost -8 points on all of Josh Allen's turnovers. Without those, he would have won. He also would have won had he benched Buffalo's head coach. So that's a couple paths to victory that closed on
That could
him.
have happened. Yeah. I think fancy spotlight though, another just pour one out for the homie. Jay Dobbs went down, so he lost his starting flex for the season.
That's it. That's in addition to already losing Cooper Kupp.
Christ. Well, at least Cup will come back. At least Cup will come back. So with him scoring what he scored, he's gonna have top waiver claim, so he could jump in and grab one of the Rams' other people. So he could definitely jump and take that. Stevenson getting 25 yards rushing, but still getting 18 points because all these little catches from
Yeah.
Matt. Matt, I mean, it's legit, and I think Miles Sanders giving him 72 yards and a fumble for 17 points is solid too. Tyler Boyd, that's a tough one. Tyler Boyd, that's a tough one there. Solid kicker numbers. He also has Cincinnati defense on his bench. What's up with that? I was like, what? I didn't know that was there. So yeah, it's an interesting situation where the Renegade of Funk, Michael Pittman Jr. So I said in the draft special that like, hey, AR has to throw the ball to somebody, and he's the guy. That's it. I mean, he made chicken salad out of chicken.
Yeah, Renegades here. He was able to win his game despite getting double zeros from Sky Moore and Dallas Goddard. That's pretty impressive. Usually 1-0 will sink your ship for the week.
Yeah. Especially Pittsburgh
He
defense
had a
giving him a
lot
nice
of help.
solid 4.
Yeah, he had a lot of help from the San Francisco head coach, who he played against. He's a diehard Steelers fan, and he still played the 49ers head coach against the Steelers.
He's like, I have to go with the guaranteed situation. That's an interesting take. Starting the San Francisco head coach, but started the Pittsburgh defense against each other. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's an interesting choice to do. But Nick Chubb came through with 22 points. Dave Montgomery last Thursday came with 21 as well. So again, really solid. I think in the draft I was like calling the road graders because he has some good running backs on his team.
Yeah.
And it's they came through. They came through and gave them the win.
The only other note I have on this game is, and you can't blame either manager for this. They each started. Josh Allen started for the Clams. The Renegades started Jalen Hurts, but both were outscored by their much later big name drafted backups. Kirk Cousins had 25 points to Allen's 16, and Russell Wilson had 24 points to Jalen Hurts' 18.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts getting 18 points is an enigma because he runs, so there should be, and I get it. It's a new offense ish because the head coach is still probably going to control the offense, but their offensive coordinator is gone, so there's a lot of new pieces, and they play against Belichick. When Belichick plays people tough, so
And there's
and
film out on the Eagles now.
yeah, they have definitely understand what they're doing, and then Josh Allen is who we thought he was. He's regressing again. This ain't good.
So we're going over to the Boy Scout trombones versus Dead Money. Dead Money won this one 126 to 89. Both teams botched their quarterbacks in this one. Joe Burrow had 5 points for the trombones. Daniel Jones got 9 points for Dead Money. That is just brutal. The trombones played a losing head coach. This is what the head coach does to us. So if he plays a winning head coach, he has 109. And if Money plays as a losing head coach, he has 106. So even though this game looks like a close to 40-point blowout, the head coach swing is real.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It definitely is. Dead Money though presented the better team. I
Mm-hmm.
guess his not presented better team, but his team showed up. Trombone's team just didn't. With Dead Money, you had Devontae Smith. He's the offense that happened there for 47 yards, 7 catches, a lot of short passes there, but a tutty. Uh, Pollard 70 yards. He combined catches and carries was under 15. So, like I said, if he stays under 15, he's money. He goes under 15, he's gonna get hurt. Derrick Henry, all hail the king. They used him. They're gonna run him to the ground. So why not? Amari Cooper, 37 yards. Yeah, yeah. Cam Akers. I think. Watch out, buyer beware in L.A. with the Rams here because they carried the ball
Uh-huh.
well over 30 times that game. So this buyer beware. Like, do not. This is not normal. Where the starter and the backup both had like well over 15 carries. Like this just doesn't work like that. And
Akers
then
had
Cleveland
22
defense
carries
showed
for
up.
29 yards.
Yeah.
22 carries for 29 yards. Like, go home. What are you doing? Are you even a football player at that point?
Shit. That is a lot of damn carries. And Swift one carry, 3 yards. He had one catch. There you go.
Yeah.
And he had a carry for 3 yards. I think D
Rashad
Johnson is
Penny.
hurt. I think Rashad Penny
Oh,
got
yeah.
none. He even dressed. D Johnson's hurt now. So that's something.
Well, I was going to say to DeAndre Swift, he got 1 point. Rashad Penny didn't even dress. He scored 1 less point than DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, it's true. Boy Scout trombones, though, they can hang their hat on one of their best players on their team, their kicker. 4 field goals. You know what I mean? He missed extra point, but my man, he 17 points for a kicker is like gold. You just like that's money time, baby. You know, James Conner, he will be a zombie by end of season. You mark my words. Um, did the Commanders beat Arizona?
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. It was they didn't
Yeah,
deserve to. There was a drive, the first touchdown drive for the Commanders. They went 91 yards in 2 minutes and 45 seconds. 67 of those yards were on penalties,
Christ.
and then they didn't move the ball down the field again until the fourth quarter, basically. Yeah, it wasn't
Mm.
pretty. Diontae Johnson, 3 catches, 48 yards. He is now out for a couple weeks with a hamstring injury. Trombones didn't have Christian Watson in this either. He was scratched before the game. So he has injury issues all of a sudden.
Major. Christian Watson's looking pretty solid. I might try to make a trade for Christian Watson. Um, what's his name? The Monster though. when he played, he did a good job. You know what I mean? But it was an air raid trying to keep with the Chargers in that game. So they didn't really run the ball like they should. But he looked good. You know what I mean? Like I said, when he's healthy, he's a very solid back. But he gets hurt though. So that's tough. That's a tough matchup. What's the next matchup?
Well, I got one more note on this.
Oh
So,
yeah?
Dead Money has a quarterback controversy already. Daniel Jones had the 104 yards, 2 picks for 9 points. He has Anthony Richardson on his bench. He's going to be starting him next week, I would believe. And then I know I said you don't have to worry about tight end, but Dead Money has to. He got a 0 from Chiggy Okonkwo from the Titans. He's going to have to find a better tight end than that.
I didn't even see he had Gainwell. So he had another Philly. There's another Philly running back appears, but this one on the bench actually did something
He had
for
Brian
15
Robinson on his
points,
bench
54
too.
yards.
Brian
Jeez.
Robinson, 59 yards, caught a touchdown, 18 points. He had 2 touchdowns on the bench from Romeo Dobbs. So Dead Money had one of the better, probably behind you and the New Day Co-op, probably had the third best week.
He has a lot of stuff going on. He had Dobbs actually score some catches, touchdown. He was a red zone threat, and then DJ Moore with only 2 catches. That's tough.
Dobbs
Mm.
probably benefited from Watson being out. On to the next game, we got Smash Hawk versus Sweetness 34.
All right,
Smash Hawk won this one 99-93. This was a close, low scoring game. He only got 7 points
nail
from
biter.
Dak Prescott, but that was due to the ridiculous game flow of the Giants just throwing up on themselves. The Cowboys didn't need Dak to do anything. He had a disappointing game from
Okay,
Rashad White, even though he got 12 points. Jamar Chase didn't do anything, only 8 points, 5 catches for 39 yards. So he was able to eke out a victory here. Sweetness 34 had the first 3 players in his box score are Justin Fields, Bijan Robinson, and Aaron Jones. They combined for 61 of his 93 points. The next 7 spots combined for 22.
yeah, yeah. Uh, George Kittle's 3 for 19. Brock Purdy's throwing the ball. Brock Purdy don't look his direction, man. I swear he don't. Um, you know, Marvin Williams in his high flying game, where points are being scored, they were not throwing his way. Um, Dijon, Robinson got that catch for a touchdown. Beyond that, he didn't really do a whole lot. That catch really salvages his numbers there. Justin Fields just, Chicago does not play good against Green Bay, so just we need to wrap that up. And then here's another interesting, and I'll pass it back to you. Um, he started Miami defense and then started the Charger head coach. So it's again, that's so weird to me. Like you're betting against yourself. Like you want the defense to do well, that's the most points, but then you're voting against the head coach. Like it doesn't work like that. You don't score 20 and 20, 20 and 10. You don't go 10 and 10. Like you're going to take a major L if you do that. It's just strange to see it.
Yeah, you're right. He paid for it. The 2 combined gave him a negative 11, and he lost this game by 6 points. So look no further than that if you want to wonder where you went wrong when you filled out this lineup. Smash Hawk, he got the win, but he didn't have any players reach 20 points on his starters or on his bench.
Yeah, I mean, surprising, Michael Thomas, the zombie known as Michael Thomas, reappeared 5 for 61. He survived the game, so can't be mad at that. Graham Gano -2. God,
Yeah, it's tough.
missed 2 field goals, man. That's tough. That just sucks.
I would be looking
You
for a new
know.
kicker, would you?
Yes, absolutely. You never give me a negative, and you're gonna stay on my team. You gotta go. You just
Especially
gotta
in week
go.
1.
Week 1, like
So
you're a kicker. You're expendable.
on to our last box score of week 1. We got Mile High Salute, 116 points, to Stealing the Wins, 110 points. And I felt really bad for Stealing the Wins when I opened up this box score and I saw he needed 7 points from Aaron Rodgers to steal the victory. And we all know what happened to Aaron Rodgers 4 plays into the game.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks. We hear like I saw a guy on Twitter lose his game by like .7 of a point because he's needed Aaron Rodgers to play and just goes down. I'm sorry to all fantasy owners that drafted him because even I said there's major boom or bust. Golly, I didn't know it was gonna be an explosion. Like he's just gonna like just it, But in other news, though, he kept it close with he got your man Brown as Matthew Berry is guaranteed to have. McCaffrey, your boy, he will never draft again. He had a long run. He had a touchdown. He has catches, 152 on the ground. Like McCaffrey went off. So I tip my hat to him on that. Herbert in Chicago gave a 12. New England defense, even though they played it tight, nice 10 points. And then Zay Flowers, a nice little 16 points, 9 for 78 with the slash and whatever that. And Matthew Stafford just being who he is always, stat stuffing, 334 yards, but no touchdowns. That's what Stafford does.
So to the Aaron Rodgers loss, he already has his replacement on his roster in the form of a rejuvenated Matt Stafford. And then to Zay Flowers, he left 16 points on his bench with him, 9 catches for 78 yards. But you know what? I'm happy if I'm stealing the wins. I have a rookie wide receiver in his first game, and he puts up 16 points on my bench. I'm not mad about that.
Not mad at all.
Yeah, sometimes bench points isn't as simple as like, oh, if I'd have played him, I would have won. Like, no, he learned a lot about Zay Flowers this week.
Exactly.
Now,
And
if you
now
want to
he
talk
could he
about,
could he could play Zay Flowers later in place of Herbert, or he could play Zay in like wide receiver two numbers, um, wide receiver two. Even K Osborne, even though he had 331, I think he had like 5 or 6 targets. So even if his numbers aren't large, there's the long term money that you could have. You're like you can't drop him because the boom is going to happen later. Just maybe they're trying to understand, especially when it comes to young wide receivers. But continue back to Maha Salute.
oh, well, one more thing I just thought of for stealing the wins. If coming out of this game with Rodgers going down and taking the 0 and causing you the loss, like that's tough. But if I'm walking away from this, my biggest concern more than that is Najee Harris getting only 31 yards. Like he's Trent Richardson now. He's Trent
Oh
Richardson.
no, no,
He's
no.
Trent Richardson. But to
God.
Mile High, so he took a 0 from T. Higgins. No fault in playing T. Higgins. Like you're going to play him virtually every week. But a 0 from Higgins, 13 from Hopkins, and 13 from Sutton. That's a combined 26. He left Brandon Ayuk's 32 on his bench, 8 catches, 129 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I don't think he'll be making that mistake again.
No, he ain't doing that
That is
again.
must start territory.
Yes, yes, it is. He starts, and yeah, shit. I'd probably sit Sutton. You know what I mean? Because T Higgins, you're gonna have to bank that maybe Burrow. Which side note, pause. Everybody who got paid this past offseason had a terrible first game. Lamar, Burrow, Geno, Danny
Rodgers.
Dimes, Rodgers, and even Bolsa. Bolsa got paid, had 0 sacks. Like these guys got paid and literally took the first game off. I'm sorry. 83 yards is the worst since the modern era of a guy who of his caliber. And that's even Payne Man will give you 140 or I mean at least 150. Like 83 yards, you didn't even try, and they pulled him out with 5 minutes left in fourth quarter because they're like it's over, we're giving up. So T Higgins getting 0 sucks, especially against Cleveland. Mixing at 13 points is solid. Even Barkley, hopefully they could bounce back. But the Giants' offensive line is so bad this year. I'm not sure they have room to go. What's kind of stressing for me, if I had to see his team, I had a glaring thing for me is Watson. Because Watson gave you 26 points, and you're like, well, that's pretty good. You know what I mean? And I hear that, but it's 154 yards and it's 2 total touchdowns. I get he's trying to get back to what he was, but that ain't Watson numbers. And Cincinnati
No.
defense is more susceptible to that. He should at least get to 200 yards. So not even getting 100. Next game, next week, we're gonna see we're gonna pull the plug on Watson tonight. Right now, he's on plug watch right now. Like he should be dropped, and there's better out there, like because that's not good enough for a starting quarterback for that team.
So before we get to the waiver wire wonders for this week, I went through the tight ends just now, all the starting tight ends. Mind you, there was no Travis Kelce this week. There was no Mark Andrews. But there's only one double-digit point scorer for tight end in the entire league this week, and that was T.J. Hawkinson with 11.
Interesting. Okay.
But yeah, let's get to the waiver wire guys. I have some claims in already. I'll name who I got claims in. I got one on
Jesus.
Puka Nakua, Sam Laporta, Kyron Williams, Tutu Atwell, Melvin Gordon III, and Darnell Mooney, who I dropped prior to last game. I have 2 roster spots because I dropped Likely and who was the other fool I dropped? Oh, Rashad Penny.
The waiver wire is interesting because in our league, Zay Jones is available. He's turning into wide receiver 2 in Jacksonville, big body wide receiver.
He was
I'm
very
not.
good last year.
I'm just not sold on the Rams. The Samoan guy's name. His name's crazy.
Puka Nakua.
Yeah, I'm not sold on it because if Cooper comes back, his value just gets neutralized. Atwell might be the better
What
one because
if
Nat will keep his job.
what if Cooper doesn't come back though?
He'll be back.
Like, what if
He'll be
it's
back.
I don't know.
Kevin Bourne looks like a great pickup, wide receiver, running backs.
Oh,
Um,
Kendall Bourne.
yeah, um, Gus. Yeah, he's going to
Yeah,
take
Gus
over the
Edwards.
next
He had
one. They
8
got
carries for 32
yeah,
yards.
so he's going to be the next man up on the Ravens. So you need
Justice Hill
that.
scored.
And then yeah, he's his handcuff, so you need that. Zach
Yeah,
Ertz
Hill
had a
vultured
bunch of
2
catches but no
touchdowns.
yards. Yep, and then you also have Sam Laporta for Detroit. There's some chemistry there, and even D Smite from Miami. If you're looking for tight ends, if they keep throwing the ball like they're throwing, I don't think it'll be like that in New England. Even Hunter Henry, like he's coming from the grave, become better than what he was. Because let me tell you, it's
I
been a
keep
tough
hearing
time
his
for Hunter
name.
Henry. Um,
I keep
mhm.
hearing his name on fantasy podcasts because Bill O'Brien is back, and he ran the New England offense when they had Gronk and Aaron Hernandez. So maybe there's something to Hunter Henry having a nice season in the Patriots offense.
Hunter Henry isn't Gronk or Aaron Hernandez. That's the problem. He's not those
Right.
athletes where they were anything. We didn't mention ESPN as garbage team. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, the
He had
bye
a
week
bye, but
guy.
he did have some players. He had the bye week guy. He had he had a bye week, so he didn't really set his team up. And his points really didn't matter because it's just a bye. But he had some good standouts here. He had AJ Brown 14, Chris Olave 8 for 112. Chris Olave is clear number one now in New Orleans, so that's very solid. If you get him, get him. Kyle Pitts 2 for 44. He is who we thought we were. You know what I mean? Green Bay defense really showed up for him as well. So, but Alvin Kamara being out, Jerry Judy being out, like he's gonna have a tough time next week. Because he put up 108 points, so maybe not, but it could be bad times for him. I can tell you.
He would have beat 5 teams this week, so middle of the pack.
Oh, okay.
Another waiver player
You
who
know,
is interesting is
yeah.
Joshua Kelly. 16 carries for 91 yards and a touchdown. That's 21 points. Which should be a high-scoring Chargers offense.
Okay. Next week on fantasy quarterbacks, you got Baker Mayfield against Cincinnati. Against the Chicago defense, I gave this ranks 30th. Ryan Tannehill against they're ranked 32nd. CJ Stroud, who showed pretty impressively against Baltimore last week. They're going against the Indies pass defense, which is not that great, and Matt Jones going against Miami, which high scoring affair. So why not? And Broncos defense is available in our league. They're scheduled. They are projected to get 13 points. They're pretty solid. And then Giants defense projected to score 12 against Arizona, but are they going to show up or not? That's the question.
Yeah, if I need a quarterback this week, I'm taking Mac Jones. If I need one long term for the season, I'm taking Jordan Love out of the ones available here. Jordan Love had a very
Jordan
good.
Love has kind of a tougher matchup with Atlanta, but yeah, he looked very competent in that offense there. If I had to ask you, give me a stat line for Mr. Zach Wilson, who is going to be starting for the New York Jets. What's his touchdown interception ratio this year
For the season? Oh, boy.
for season?
It's gonna be something sad,
Your face.
like it's gonna be like
Oh,
19-17.
damn. 1917, you can get benched before he gets there. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. All right.
All
That's
right, so I
interesting.
think we covered everything this week. You got anything else before we get to our Hall of Fame nominee?
I want to apologize to the Browns fans out there because I made a comment last cast saying that why would you have the Browns head coach? That's a joke. That's ridiculous. Why would they whatever? And then they actually smackety clap the cheeks of the Cincinnati Bengals. And yeah, I you know what? I didn't see it coming, but then I find out later on that the Bengals haven't beat the Browns at home in forever.
Yeah, so you
So
said that,
yeah.
and then he dropped the Browns head coach who won, and he picked up the Denver head coach who lost. So maybe he shouldn't have messed
the
with
same
the.
the same exact score to the Raiders that they lost to them last year, 17-16.
The Bengals got skunked last year against the Steelers in Week 1.
Joe Burrow, man, I'm just happy. I mean, you know, say it's gonna play out, I guess, but Joe Burrow, 83 yards week 1 is just very disappointing. I don't even if I had to think like between Joe Burrow's, Josh Allen's, or like it should be like a third QB that was really bad. Danny Dimes, like Joe Burrow's one is the worst because Joe Burrow to me he just 83 yards is pathetic. Josh Allen just can't see people, so he just crazy forced the ball too much. And Danny Dimes had his time in the pocket before he got sacked was on average of 1.5 seconds. 1.5 seconds. You don't have time to throw the ball, man.
Who plays this Thursday? Then
So,
we'll wrap it up. I hate the Thursday
this
games, by the
Thursday, I
way.
think it's Philly. I think it's Philly. They're playing against
And the
the.
Vikings.
Who are they? Is it? Yeah. It's supposed to be
The
because they're gonna
Vikings.
like can Eagles shut down Justin Jefferson, and Justin Jefferson is an absolute monster. So I hope he just kills him. You know what I mean? So that'd be interesting how that plays out there. So we always in our cast with a uh fantasy Hall of Famer. Billy, who is your
I
fantasy
got
Hall of
one.
Famer this week?
So because you went with Eddie George last week, I'm going back to the Titans. I'm taking Chris Johnson out of East Carolina
Chris Johnson,
University.
CK2K.
Yeah, he had 2,960 all-purpose yards and 24 touchdowns, and then he was drafted by Tennessee in the first round of the 2008 NFL Draft. He ran a then record-breaking 4.24 seconds in the 40-yard dash at the Combine. He was with the Titans from 2008 to 2013, spent 1 year with the Jets, and then 3 years with the Cardinals to end his career. NFL Offensive Player of the Year in 2009, first team All-Pro in 2009, 3-time Pro Bowler from 2008 to 2010, 2009 NFL rushing leader. Had a record 2,509 yards from scrimmage in 2009. He finished his career with 9,651 rushing yards, 4.5 yards a carry, 55 rushing touchdowns.
It was a glorious time back then. 09, the 08 was him and Rondell White. It was like thunder and lightning. He'd get him all the way down the field, and Rondell White would just come in and score that touchdown. A 2-yard carry for a touchdown. You ain't stopping it. It was guaranteed. It was good
Yeah,
times.
he was like a
The
comet.
pride of Eastern Carolina. Yeah,
Yep,
pride of
the
Eastern
Pirates.
Carolina. Yeah,
All right, so
it sure is.
yeah, everybody enjoy week 2. Get your lineup set, get your waiver claims in, and we'll see you next week.
All right, guys. Have a good night.